Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Welcome to another session of your social science children. We have been seeing about Ashoka's Kalinga war, his changeover, and then about Ashoka and Buddhism, and then we have seen also about Ashoka's Dhamma. Yes? So now we are going to see more about Ashoka. Now we are going to start with edicts. Yes, we have seen this word already in our history. So edict is a message or a law which was conveyed by a king to his people, okay, written on a stone or a pillar. I am repeating, edict is a message or a law which was conveyed by a king to his subjects. Who is the subject? The people of the kingdom, okay. So which was conveyed by a king to his subjects about the message or the law which he was about to say, and that was written on a stone or a pillar. Okay, stone is nothing but a rock, bigger size. So a rock or a pillar, right, that is called as edict. So now we will see about that. To spread his Dhamma across his vast empire, Ashoka had his edicts, messages and laws carved out on stone pillars and rocks and placed in every corner of the empire. So he wanted to spread his policy of Dhamma, and that is why he started making these edicts, and that was placed in every corner of the empire. The edicts asked the people to be kind, truthful and gentle. So there were no strong laws or forceful laws. Okay, so people were asked just to follow the policies of kindness, truthfulness and gentle. Yes, people were asked to be kind, that's all. And then here you could see a sample of the edict of Ashoka. Then the edicts were, so what was the language used on these edicts? It was usually composed in the languages in which common people spoke. Okay, so the first thing was, it was in Prakrit, the script was Brahmi script, and then Greek and Aramaic, which was in Kharoshthi script, right? So that is how the edicts were built upon throughout the empire. So now we are going to see how was the administration during this Mauryan empire. So overall Mauryan empire, how was the administrative policies we are going to see. So during this Chandragupta Maurya's period, we have seen that Chanakya was the important minister in his court. So from then, and also we have seen that he is a very knowledgeable person on this politics and the external affairs of the country or the state. So he was a very efficient minister. So first let us see, and also about this Mauryan empire, all the references we have got is through this Arthashastra written by Chanakya. So let us see what are all the administrative policies or administration system of this Mauryan empire. So Chanakya's Arthashastra is the rich source of information about the economics, politics and administration of the Mauryan empire. It discusses in detail. So what are all the things given in the book of this Arthashastra? It gives the duties and responsibilities of a king, and then the rules of taxation. Yes, we have seen that tax were collected from the people. So what are all the rules that has to be followed for this taxation, and then the laws for governing society and the role of spies. Spies were the people who were sent to other countries just to know the condition there. Okay, so he is usually a secret person sent by one king to the other kingdom, so that he will collect and gather the information from there. It could be the political information or the trade information, or if they are going to conduct any war against us. So all these details, this spy will go to other kingdom and he will collect and come back to us. Okay, so what is the role of a spy? Then what are all the duties and responsibilities of the king and how the tax should be collected? All these things are given in this Arthashastra. And also we know from Arthashastra that the Mauryan empire was divided into provinces, each under a prince or a member of the royal family. So the entire empire was divided into parts. that part we call it as provinces, and each province was headed by one member of the royal family. Royal family is nothing but the family of king. Okay, so it could be prince, that is the son of the king, or it could be any member from the family. And then officers called Mahamatyas and a council of ministers assisted these princes. So Mahamatyas, we saw that Dhamma Mahamatyas were there. So they were spreading the message of Dhamma throughout the empire. Same way, Mahamatyas were the important officers, and also governors were there to help this family member of the royal family. So it could be prince and also any other member. So they were assisted, they were helped by Mahamatyas and the council of ministers. So now the empire was divided into provinces, and provinces were divided into districts. So each district had a head called governor. The districts were further subdivided into villages. So 4 divisions were there. Empire was divided into provinces, and provinces were divided into districts. Districts were divided into villages, right? And officers were appointed at all levels. So from the village level up to the empire level, there were many officers being appointed. And what was the work for these officers? They made sure that people paid taxes and abided by law. So they had to make sure that people follows all the rules and regulations. And they also saw to it that the defaulters were punished. What is meant by defaulters? Defaulters were the people who did not follow the rules or who did not pay their taxes. So people who do not pay tax or who do not follow rules, they were called as defaulters. So they were punished. And then some of the important officials in the empire administration were. So who were all the officers in this administration? The governor, who was the administrator of district. Then the accountant and the tax collector. So tax collector is a person who was responsible for collecting tax. Right? So, and there was a person called accountant. So what is the work of this accountant? Let us see. So the accountant maintained land records and kept a census of the population. So how many people are there? What is the land available for each one of them? If a farmer is there, how much land he owns. So like this, all the details were maintained by this accountant. And then the empire had a large army that consisted of elephants, horses and foot soldiers to protect the empire and ensure peace and stability. So the army was very efficient army which was very big in size with elephants, horses and foot soldiers. With that, we have completed the administration of the Mauryan Empire. So now we are going to see how did this Mauryan Empire fallen. Okay, so the decline of Mauryan Empire. So we will see the causes why did this Mauryan Empire had declined. So as we have seen that Ashoka's death that happened in 232 BCE, after that the Mauryan Empire started to fall off. Why? So that declined rapidly. Rapidly means gradually, slowly it started falling down. So some of the reasons were the kings who succeeded Ashoka were weak and unable to hold the vast empire together. So the kings who came after Ashoka, because that was such a big empire and the kings were not that efficient as Ashoka, so they were not able to control such a big empire from one place. Okay. And then as the administration broke down, communication with and control over the distant parts of the empire became difficult. So as the administration was not strong, yes, they became weak. So what happened? It was difficult for them to communicate from one end to the other end of the empire. So the communication stopped, and that is how the control also had dropped. Okay. Then the policies of Ahimsa and Dhamma Vijaya weakened the army. So Ashoka was efficient that he was able to conquest various places with the policy of Dharma without conducting any wars. But as the next followed kings were not such efficient as Ashoka, what happened? They were not able to continue following the policy of this Ahimsa and Dharma. Because of that, when they were following this non-violence policy, when they did not enter into a war, what happened? The kingdom was easily lost. Okay, so the army started to be weakened. Then the kingdoms in the bordering regions of the empire took advantage of the weak center to declare their independence. So as now what happened? No war is being conducted. The army was not strong enough. So the kingdoms which were on the borders, what they did? They declared themselves as independent. So we are no more belonging to the Mauryan Empire. They declared themselves as independent because the center or the head of the kingdom was not strong enough. So because of that, what happened? The bordering empires or the bordering regions of this empire started declaring themselves as independent. And a great deal of money was needed to administer the vast empire. So they required more money because the empire was big and the later rulers could not collect enough revenue for this. So they were not able to collect much revenue as Ashoka did. Yes, the taxation policies, the people were not under the full control of the emperors. And finally, in 185 BCE, Pushyamitra Shanga, who was a general in the Mauryan army, killed Brihadratha, the last Mauryan emperor, and founded the Shanga dynasty. Yes, so in 185, this Mauryan empire completely came to an end. Right? With that, we have come to the end of Mauryan empire. So this is the picture of the great stupa built by Ashoka. It is located in Sanchi. It is there even today. So the Mauryan kings were very much adorning all these arts and architectural works. Right? So this is one such example, and this one you would have seen regularly in we are regularly seeing this on our daily basis. This is called as line capital of our country. This was done by Ashoka. This was made during Ashoka's period, and that has been taken as the national emblem. Okay, this line has been taken as national emblem in 1950. Right, this was taken as national emblem of our country. Yes, the four-headed lion. And then here you could see the chakra, which is called as Ashoka chakra, and we are seeing it every day in our national flag. Yes, it consists of 24 spokes we have seen. So this is taken to our national flag. So that was the respect given by our government to the great Emperor Ashoka. With this, we are coming to the end of this lesson, children. See you soon in another interesting lesson. Thank you. To receive our online lessons, please press the subscribe button and you will receive the latest updates. Shri Gurubhyo Namaha.